There's a small piece of heaven in southwest Wyoming where my heart and soul feel a higher calling to conserve the beauty of all God's creations for muley fanatics and our future generations.
The Muley Fanatic Foundation fights for the future of mule deer, also wildlife, habitat, and hunting heritage. Learn more at muleyfanatic.org and tune in to the Wild Things and Wild Places podcast with Joey, Chris, and Janet.
We're on to another episode of Wild Things, Wild Places, the Muley Fanatic Foundation podcast. Today, we're just talking about another tier of our mission, and that's furthering the sport of hunting. Have our regular 3-person team with Muley Fanatic Foundation, Chris Steffen, Janet Crofts, and myself. And then we have a 4th person here that we just thought would be great to have on this podcast to talk about just straight hunting. We thought it'd be great to have another lady. Since we had Janet, we thought we wouldn't team up on her and be 2-1. So we evened it out and thought, what local lady hunter is there that just has the experience and everything else? And that's a local resident of Rock Springs, Wyoming, Jessica Evans, who owns a couple businesses and is just an avid hunter. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
You bet. So we just go with however direction we want to go with this. We could talk any hunting story. It doesn't have to be related to mule deer. It could be related to any species whatsoever. Maybe your favorite moment, just what got you started into hunting, probably, just that kind of thing. And then I want Chris and Janet and even myself will share some of those stories and stuff. And it's just a straight up conversation about hunting, something that we are so passionate about, love, and it's just our heritage.
I always want to know, I don't know why, specifically for women that are in the field. I always want to know, did you start at an early age hunting, or did you have late onset hunting? Was it due to a spouse that was a hunter? Tell us your story, Jessica.
So I grew up hunting with my family. My parents always took us out elk hunting, deer hunting, antelope hunting, everything. But I never actually hunted myself. I never pulled the trigger. I never wanted a license. I loved to go. I didn't have any problems with it. We always had just so much fun doing it as a family. But I really didn't get into actually hunting for myself until after I graduated from college. And I remember telling my mom and dad, I said, I think I want to put in for antelope this year. And you could hear the record scratch. Really? So yeah, let's give it a try. And I drew a tag that year and got my first antelope. And they were worried. They thought maybe if things didn't quite go right, that I would be forever traumatized and have, a bad experience. But everything went really well. And I've just been hooked since. My family and my mom and dad, they never really are big trophy hunters. They're meat hunters. And it's just a family thing for us to do together. I started getting more down the rabbit hole of hunting and getting into archery and doing some of these bigger things. A friend of mine walked up to me. I was like early 20s and we were down at the Park Hotel, and a friend of mine walked up to me and said, I heard you want to go bear hunting. I said, I do want to go bear hunting. So we're going this weekend if you want to go. I said, okay, I'm going with you guys. So I told my mom and dad, I said, I'm going bear hunting this weekend. They were like, with who? and that's when I really started to see things differently. That whole problem of baiting bears and hanging tree stands and all of that kind of stuff, really, it was just so different. It was something I'd never done before, and I just was absolutely hooked and loved it. And I learned so much from those guys over that summer. We actually learned to shoot a bow over the summer because I didn't realize that the archery season started 2 weeks early. So my buddy says, you can hunt for an extra 2 weeks if you learn to shoot a bow. And I was all about it. So we went to the range a few times over the summer and learned to shoot a bow. And then that fall, I actually shot my first anything with a bow and my first bear. Man, being on the ground 28 yards from a 300-pound black bear was really something. So I just really got hooked on it then.
And bear hunting then is your favorite, would you say?
That's my jam. Yeah.
That's your jam.
I mean, I love it. I can't say they're all so neck and neck as far as what I love to do. Archery elk hunting is one of my favorite things. I'm just being out there and hearing elk bugle and trying to play that game with them. Spot and stalking mule deer is one of the most frustrating challenges I've ever tried to do with a bow, but it's so rewarding when you can make it happen. But even going to the east side of the state and going turkey hunting, and we go to Texas and go hog hunting usually once a year, and just all of it. But if I lived in a horrible place that I had to pick one, I would just bear hunt.
You and your husband just got back from Canada, right?
We
Bear
did.
hunting.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. How was that?
Oh, it was so much fun. We had an absolute ball. It's so much different than what I'm used to. Because I've been baiting bears since 2008. And in that time, I killed that one the first year with my bow. I didn't get another one until 2018 with my bow. And my husband, Casey's, got a couple with a rifle. So he was really excited to get one with a bow, but we just don't get a lot of opportunities here. We don't have the population like they do up there. And you're sitting in these ground blinds that they've built just out of like a hog wire, and you're 18, 20 from the bait, and these bears are just walking right around you, and they know you're there. They're not stupid. They know that you're there. And the younger ones and the younger boars and stuff, they're not super concerned, but those bigger ones, they don't want to mess around when you're in there. So it was neat. It was really cool to be able to see that many bears in one place and just really just have an opportunity to actually just watch the animals and not have to worry about making a shot on them.
Yeah, so you went with Cody Robbins.
We met here at Mule Deer Days.
Yeah, so Live to Hunt with Cody and Kelsey. He's our ambassador. So you guys went up there. I've seen videos, and it looks just crazy.
And they were so good to hunt with too. It was just a really laid back atmosphere, and they had a nice lodge and little cabins and stuff. We were able to bring our dog Sheldon. That was gonna make or break when we were talking to him at the show that day. It's like, what are we got to bring? We got to bring our dog. We can't, because I don't board him or anything. So he said, yeah, bring him up. You'll have your own little cabin, and he can stay in there. And by the time we left there, the gals, the cook and a couple of Cody's friends, we'd come back from sitting the bait, and the dog is in the lodge on the couch, just hanging out. I'm like, get off the couch. She said, oh no, he's having a day. He's having so much fun. And she said one day, she said, oh, it was just so hot, and we felt bad for him, so we took him to the lake, and he went swimming.
That's awesome.
He was as spoiled as we were, so it was nice to be able to know that he was taken care of. He was having just the best time, and we could go sit the baits and not have to worry about anything.
That's the amazing thing about hunting, is create such great memories with it as well. And then that gets you hooked on that certain species because of that experience of that certain hunt. And that's probably why I'm so hooked on mule deer. I love the species to death anyways, but my first mule deer hunt was fantastic and probably the most memorable piece of my life. So it just increased that passion for that species. And I've had some fantastic hunts with antelope and elk, especially archery hunting elk. You can't say that isn't the best experience ever, but especially when, large bulls bugling 20 yards from you. That experience is just unbelievable. And then I'm with you too, Jessica, the bear hunting, and here in Wyoming, we don't have 20 bears running around us like in Canada, but it takes a lot of work. And then when it's successful, it's worth all that effort. And that's the other thing with Wyoming, it just has a diverse amount of landscape and everything else. And then, of course, the great opportunity to hunt. If you don't draw a tag, you could still go to a counter and buy a license for a majority of the species that you're going to hunt. And we're just spoiled in this state as well. And my family, too, the same thing. They're all meat hunters. My dad has hundreds of old photos of them carrying a fawn out that they just harvested because it was young and it was good meat. Hunting in the 60s, they had plenty of opportunity to kill that trophy animal. And, today's world, that's pretty much what it's really focused on, which is unfortunate. It's just the antler size. But, yeah, same thing. It was just the meat was important, and really, it's just our generation just started growing up with that trophy aspect of it all. But yeah, it's the memories that really is the biggest thing for me as far as hunting goes.
Yeah, that's some of the best hunts that I've had. They didn't produce anything, that you'd hang on the wall or that people are going to get really excited about and be talking about. Did you see that elk that Jessica shot? Nothing like that. It was just a fun day. And one thing I'll say, born and raised here in Rock Springs, and I feel like most young people in smaller towns couldn't wait to get out. This place is terrible. I don't want to be here. And I went to school down in Utah and ran out of money and had to come home. And I'll regroup. I'll get some loans paid off, and I'm out of here. I'm going anywhere but here. And then that didn't work and didn't go anywhere. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough. And then once I really opened up the world of hunting and started getting into it and started traveling for it and going to places in Oklahoma and Texas and Montana and these different places, even the eastern side of Wyoming. It was like if you didn't have a map and you didn't have a GPS and you didn't know exactly where you stand, you'd get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And it was something on this side of the state that you don't really have to think about. We've got a lot of the BLM and access to forest, but even with the checkerboard and having the access to the grazing association land, you just don't have to worry about those maps. And I didn't realize that growing up until you expand your horizons a little bit more and you realize it's different in other places. After me and Casey first met, he was actually living in Washington at the time. And I met him while I was on a blacktail hunt with some friends. And he's originally from Gillette, but he was wanting to move back. So we had, through mutual friend, knew each other, but hadn't really hung out or anything. And he came back to visit, and we went up in the sand dunes area to go coyote hunting. He was actually really annoying because he just kept asking in a good way, but he was like, can we go over there? That would be a great stand over there. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Because he, growing up in Gillette, he didn't just go drive down a road, pull over and go call coyotes. It just wasn't a thing. And his mind was just blown. He's like, this is the greatest place on the planet. And it was really cool to see that.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
You're right. Colorado is the greatest place on the planet. You should move there.
Yes, after Utah.
Yeah. Yep.
But really kind of share that with him because he grew up hunting, and being able to show him something new like that with having access to public land and getting to take him bear hunting for the first time. He had never gone. And I remember the first time we were sitting a bait, every little noise, what's that? What's that? I was like, it's not a bear. Like, we're going to do this for a long time. We're just sit here. Nothing's going to happen. And pretty soon here come a bear right down behind the bait. He's like, that's a bear. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You just ruined you for a bear hunt now, which was unfortunate. I actually missed that bear with my bow. And then he ended up getting it 4 or 5 years later.
Oh, wow.
With a rifle. We had that same bear in there for years and just let it get bigger.
Yeah, we definitely I don't know if we take it for granted. I realize it. Obviously, we're talking about it, but you definitely take for granted how special like this side of the state of Wyoming is with all of our public lands. And that's one of the reasons why the conversation a few weeks ago was such impactful and important to all of us is once that public land is potentially gone, it's gone. So anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. We already had a podcast on it. But yeah.
I think it's something to continue talking about too. When we do our group hikes through Whiskey Goats, and I always try to get people to stop. If we're partway up White Mountain or we're out on Aspen or something, and I make people turn around and it's like, I need you to look at this. I need you to visually realize where you stand right now and look around you and know that you can pretty much go anywhere on this land that you can see. And if you don't pay attention and you don't realize that, because a lot of people do take it for granted. I did until I learned more about it, but trying to point that out to people. And it's been fun because people see the impact of that. And then when the conversation of whether it be the public lands or the RMP or whatever it is, it catches their attention a little bit more. So that's just one more voice, So I think it's definitely worth keeping it out there and getting it in front of people. But I do like to be able to tell people when you say you're from Rock Springs and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Chris even says that too.
I do say that. I'm sorry you're from Rock Springs. Green River's so much nicer.
Let's Sweetwater County this.
Yeah, Sweetwater County.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
But I like to point that out to people. Like, how's your access?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it's something that they don't really think about because they don't realize like the access that we do have.
So you mentioned like your business. You mentioned Whiskey Goats. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your two businesses is it just 2, 3, 4, 5?
3, yeah.
that you have going, and tell us a little bit about how the Whiskey Goats thing started.
So that was Casey's kind of nickname for us, for me and him, because he said that we're like goats, that no matter what we're doing, we always have to be up there. We always have to get to the top of something, especially when we're putting out bear baits. We got 40 or 50 pounds of meat on your back. And you're like, why do we put the bait here? It makes it so much harder. Gets us in shape for elk season, and then we drink whiskey. So we're like, we're the Whiskey Goats, and we, I'm a graphic designer, so I was like, I got to make a t-shirt. So I made us some shirts, and then some friends what is this? Where'd this come from? Yeah, it's just a fun little thing, and people, I want one. So, okay, so I started making more shirts. You should make some hats. You should make some hoodies. I guess I get the licenses and start paying sales tax and all that stuff. Maybe we should do this right. Maybe something will happen from it. And so now we've got our physical store downtown Rock Springs, which was a big decision. We weren't sure if we wanted to just stay online and do, the shows and different things like that. But it was just really overtaking our house and our garage and our basement and every corner of where we live. So once that building became available, it's like, let's just try it. Let's see it's a 1-year lease. If we don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. But now we're just in August, we'll be in our 2nd year of our 1-year lease. And it's been a lot of fun. And it's something as simple as just starting out with a t-shirt and a couple hats like that has really grown into something bigger. And with doing the hikes and really we've met so many people and from all different kind of backgrounds. Not all of them hunt, not all of them fish or anything like that, but the different stories and experiences that you get to share with people is really a lot of fun. And then I have my little back end goals of making sure that people realize what they have here in the desert and that we don't always have to be in the mountains to appreciate being out and going on an adventure, because the desert really does offer some incredible landscape.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask a few questions though. One, that with women in hunting, it's always a challenge. So I'm just curious, did you face any unique or have you faced any unique challenges as a woman entering the hunting world?
Yeah, definitely. And there's something, and I don't know what it is, I can't put a finger on it, but there's something different about women who predator hunt. When you've got a woman with a deer or an elk or something, you don't catch quite as much slack for it. But a woman with a coyote, with a bear, with a mountain lion, man, people get upset about it. And I don't know what that is, that they get really, really irritated about it. When I got my brown bear up in Alaska, I'd obviously posted on Facebook and Instagram, and I had it all set to private, but then the American Bear Foundation wanted to share it, and they said, can you make it public? And I didn't think anything of it, so I switched it to public. Wow, there was people from all over the country with death threats, and you should have a bullet in your head. And it's like, I'm not doing anything illegal here. You're not going to stop what I'm doing. You're not helping, and you're certainly not willing to have a conversation, so you just got to walk away from it. But somebody's always got kind of something to say. When we were on that hunt in Alaska, it was actually, I wish we would have got a video of it because it was hilarious. When we were in the airport in Anchorage, pretty much everybody that was flying from Anchorage to Cold Bay was going there to spring bear hunt. And it was all dudes, and they were head to toe in all their gear. And I don't know if there was a reason behind that, as far as it's just easier to wear it than to pack it. But I'm talking like gaiters, all our rain gear, everything. Okay.
Rifle over their shoulder.
Guy, shouldn't that be checked somewhere?
Yeah,
Why do you have this out? And it didn't even open. This was on a Saturday. It didn't even open until Monday. So you guys are way prepared. Maybe I'm not. What am I doing wrong? And because I question everything. Me and Casey are sitting, we're in our jeans, and a hoodie. And I told Casey, we look like biologists. We don't look like we're here to hunt at all. So we get to talking to some guys, and they look right past me. They don't make eye contact with me or nothing. They just talk to him. And Casey's always been so good about that kind of stuff. He don't let people do that. And he'll be like, this is her deal. I've got a license. If I have an opportunity to get one, I will, but this is her jam. This is her bear that we're going after. And then they have to acknowledge that I'm in
They just assume you're there to support him.
Yes, yeah, take pictures, camp cook, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the one guy actually looked at me and I was, you're going to hunt. And I thought maybe we were going to enter into a reasonable conversation. He says, what are you going to shoot it with, a 22? And I said, that would be stupid, don't you think?
Should have just said,
really have anything
I'm going to just kill it with my bare hands.
Yeah.
What are you going to kill it with?
Pull your knife out.
Yeah.
Right here. That's what I have.
It was just, but it's comments like that. It's the put each other down type of thing. And I told him, I said, no, I'm actually going to shoot it with an open sight 4570. Because if I shoot it with my bow, the outfitter's going to back up, shoot it. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want the outfitter to kill the bear. I want to kill it. And that gun is within open sights. I want to be within 100 yards. So I still have that archery experience, but I get to break bones. And he just faded away. He didn't want to talk to us anymore. It was like, but yeah, it's such a weird thing to say to somebody, which that same guy, actually, after we got back, that was a weird year. People had a really hard time. It was just, everything was really late that year. The grasses were late getting up. The caribou hadn't calved yet. There was just not as much bear activity as these outfitters were expecting. So some of these guys didn't get anything, and some shot smaller boars or even sows. And that guy in particular shot a 7-foot sow. he asked me how I did. I said, oh, not too bad. And I showed him pictures of mine. I said, yeah, 22 worked pretty good, bud. He's like, oh, this 10-foot just giant boar, and his skull's 28 inches. He's just 19-year-old bear, a beast of an animal, you know. So it's kind of nice to be able to have that, like that give back.
Do you think it's more social media that kind of makes it harder for women in the hunting world, or do you just think it's just a stigma in general?
I think it's a stigma in general, for sure, because I've had way too many face-to-face conversations that are similar, but social media definitely does not help. I feel like there's people get on that keyboard, they get to do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and there's no consequence. Whereas if you are face-to-face and you say something like, are you going to shoot a brown bear with a 20? I get to respond to that. Whereas on a comment like that, you don't ever have to check back to the comments. So you can say whatever you want and there's no consequence to it at all. But there's definitely a lot of looking past me and looking to Casey, and, you know.
I can relate because when we go to meetings and stuff, I get like I'm the wife. So it's hard for, I think, people to understand that there's women in this industry and stuff like, you know, we actually got shirts made and I had a tag that says Muley Fanatic on it now. So people know that I'm part of the group. Not saying that most people don't, but you don't get it in other situations as well. Same with my husband. Anything to do with hunting, it's always directed at him and a fade back.
Which you shouldn't do.
Yeah, but I'm not as big a hunter as like my husband is. So I just let him talk about it because I enjoy hunting, but I'm not as into it as my husband.
I see.
You know, and I definitely would never bear hunt. Kudos to you. I don't even want to be in the same vicinity as pictures are great, but I don't even want to see one of them. As long as it's like mountains away, I'm good with it. So what is your favorite hunt that you did?
Oh boy, that's a tough one because there's so many that we've just had so much fun. They've all meant so many different things. The brown bear, that was such a different experience, just being out there on a tent and 130 mile an hour winds. It was such a test of your ability. And I kept asking myself, what am I doing? Why am I here? I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here. And then afterward, it was like, okay, yeah, you did that. That was cool. But then even just, we had a couple years ago, a day trip. We went out on opening day down to Cedar Mountain. That's just winging it for a fun day, something to go do. And I just needed meat for the freezer and shot a small, thought it was a spike, and ended up, having a couple points. I think it was like a little 3-point elk, and it just worked. And we were back home by 2:30 and I had this elk, and it was easy and it was fun and we laughed all day, and it was just, like I say, not one that you hang on the wall, nothing that you get super excited about, but it was just, we just had and it worked. It was like, let's go out on an opening day in a general season area. And
your expectations were low.
Yes, very low.
So
one of my favorite hunts was just a day hunt. I ended up with blood, mud, snow in my hair, and it was just a great day. Like, it wasn't anything, we weren't looking for anything big. We were just meat hunting, and it was like, that's one of my favorite hunts being on. Oh, and
yeah.
We had laughed, cried, I think a little bit.
Just having that time to really sit back and visit with one another and just have a good day. Yeah. But then, like, the mule deer that I got when I drew that 102 tag, ended up getting that with my bow. That's the only deer that I've ever got with my bow. And we found him in July and just babysat him. And it was so opposite of expectations, are way up here. And it's like, I gotta have that deer. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. You try to go to work and focus. And you're like, I just want to go look for him. And I'd put several stalks on him and just couldn't get past that, like 80 yards, and he never really busted me. And then one day he did. And him and his buddy took off and went way over the other side, like total different area that we've ever seen. And I cried. Casey had to physically help me. And he's like, it's going to be okay. Oh, there's other deer. And I'm like, I don't want another deer. I want that deer. And I think it was the next week. We lost him for a whole week and he just wasn't showing back up. And then we did a last ditch effort. Oh, let's go back in there, see if we can find him. And we found him right before dark, and he was ripping all of his velvet off his horns. So now I'm really mad at him because I really wanted to try to get it with the velvet, and that lighter hide and all that. And went in the next morning and broke every rule of archery hunting that there is. Just went over, just totally put ourselves out in the open. It was just like, this has got to work. We're going to Hail Mary this. And it did. After I shot him, he just took a couple jumps and he tipped over. Casey fell down and I was like, I got him. And we walked up to him and he had a big cheater on the right side, and he'd fallen onto that side, but he was hanging around with another decent 4-point, and I couldn't see that cheater. And he looked weirdly smaller than I thought he was going to, and he was just at the angle, and it was just weird. And I just panicked that I shot the wrong deer. I was like, how did I let that happen? And when I picked it up, obviously the cheater was there. It was him. And I cried again. And it was such a unique feeling, because that was one of those animals that you just got so attached to and so close. And we had tons and tons of pictures, and I'd put stocks on him in my socks trying to sneak up on this thing. And he finally just screwed up. He made that one mistake where if he just would have ran, you start to question, like, why did he let me do that? Why did he give me just that extra little bit of time, draw my bow and steady a pin on him? These are wild animals and they're built to survive. Yeah. And he just made that mistake. When I see him on the wall, and I was just like, you dummy. What are you doing? So it's a weird feeling to want something so bad and then get it and then be so happy, but then bummed about it too. Because you're like, it's over. Now what are we going to go do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a photo says, it speaks so many words when you see some of those. And that photo you posted that time, holding that deer, you could just see it in your eyes and your face. It was like, I was like, I bet you that was probably one of her greatest hunts. I mean, you could see it right away. Those type of hunts are just cool, especially putting all that time and effort and just falling in love with something that, it's the adventure getting to it. I experienced that with Jason, my brother, and he fell in love with a deer. It was quite annoying after a while sometimes. But the only unfortunate thing is someone else harvested that deer, not him. So it was heartbreaking for him, but that's hunting. That's how it rolls. But I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff is really cool. Just whatever it is, even antelope. You find some people don't really think about it because deer and elk have such large antlers. You don't think about the horns of an antelope that could really make you so excited, but there are. And same thing, you find that one buck, and man, that's your goal. Especially if it's unique, like a freak antelope. It's just, you could pick that out of the herd, and that's what's so awesome about hunting. How you could just fall in love with a creature, but some people don't understand. But then you killed it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's weird. That's a weird thing to try to explain to people too, when they're throwing out terrible things about how awful of a person you are for hunting. And then you try to explain that to them. And I just don't understand how you can want to do conservation. You guys are, you have these big organizations that raise all these funds for conservation, but then you just want to go out and kill them. And I don't know really how to explain that either, that you can really truly love something so much and then take its life. It shouldn't make sense. But I think it's just instinct. I think it's millions of years of evolution in our bones that that's what we should be doing. Mm-hmm. And I think when you get personal with that animal, and we do all of our own butchering. I've been doing taxidermy for about 15 years, and so preserving the hide and all of that whole process that goes with, it's not just that shot. It's not just when it hits the dirt. It's the whole process after that is all part of it. And when you really enjoy doing that, when you're in the fall, sitting in the garage with the football game on and grinding up burger, and
it's full circle.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Do you guys eat I assume you eat bear?
Yeah. It depends on because my last archery bear that I got, it was one of those right before dark. I was by myself, and Casey had to work, so we had this bear coming in on the bait, and I said, I'm going to go sit this bait, which sounded like a great idea until I was walking into the bait. I was like, what are you doing? I'm asking myself that a lot. Why are you here? And then it was getting closer and closer to dark. I was like, I don't think he's going to come in. And I got so disappointed. And then he came in, and I was like, oh God, what do I do now? And I had that panic and just made a good shot on him. And I'd let him run off into the timber, and I went up and I was like, I'm going to find blood, or I'm going to find an arrow. And I found my arrow, and it had blood all the way up to the fletches. Okay, that's good enough. We'll come back in the morning. And by the time we got to him in the morning, this was in August, it was 85 degrees, and they get pretty gross pretty fast. But we kept the meat from those bears from Canada, and I made a new summer sausage recipe that was mixed in a little bit of elk with it to try to tone down the grease, and it was really, really good.
Huh.
I've never just straight sliced it up as like a steak. I've always done something with them because they are pretty greasy, and they're not like a deer or an elk where you really expect a flavor. Like, they really are different depending on what they're eating.
Yeah, that's been my experience just with the bear that I've eaten. Takes on the flavor of whatever their predominant diet is or ever.
Yeah, and you see some of the stuff that we feed them for where we hunt. We can only use unprocessed meat, so livestock.
Which needs to change. Yeah.
I don't know. It takes up a lot of freezer space and room in our garage to keep all that bait, but it really does get us in really good shape because you pack in a couple 100 pounds, putting in a bait. So then it'll come time to pack out a deer or something like that. You're good. It's a lot lighter than what you've been packing, but I don't see a lot of the logic behind it with the grizzlies and all that stuff. But
Yeah. And even today, look at the grizzlies today. They're everywhere. So
they are so out of control.
Yeah, it's challenged because now I know who takes all my meat when I go to Smith's.
But
Yeah, it's a challenge just because more and more people are involved with bear hunting now. It's just a challenge with that rules. People like us who've been doing it for a while, it gets harder and harder, but it's fine. I mean, I'm glad people are getting involved with some bear hunting and that, but I don't understand it either at this point, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it really, and if that's what makes the Forest Service happy, to let the Game and Fish get along with them to say, yeah, you can put out baits, we're going to let this happen, because the Forest Service, from my understanding, is not super happy about baiting at all.
No.
And I think if it was to get shut down, I think they would be very much in support of shutting it down. Mm-hmm. So if it's a way to get along, then let's just get along so that we can keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think when you mentioned all the reaction you got from people when you posted your big bear from Alaska, I think it's just when we just were talking about this the other day, coming back from the Game and Fish Commission meeting where they had the season setting for both mountain lion and wolf, and then you throw grizzlies on top of that. It's just I made the comment, do folks who are animal rights people, anti-hunt, you never see them supporting mule deer. You never see them supporting antelope or elk or deer. It's always something with claws, teeth. I think part of that is just my personal opinion is that when they look at somebody hunting those animals, they assume it's the quote unquote trophy. You're not eating the meat. You don't value it that way. You're just wanting to kill something for the sake of killing it, which I know so many guys or people that hunt bears. And I don't know. I wouldn't eat a coyote. I don't think I'd eat a wolf.
No,
I don't know, something funky about it,
road, but
like a canine, but I know
mountain lion's good.
I've had mountain lion. It is very good.
Mm-hmm. It's a mental thing to get, like when you're cooking it up, you're like, it's a cat. It's also an animal that I killed, so I owe it to eat it.
Yeah. My hardest part of the one I ate, my buddy killed it, decided it would be a good idea to bring it to my garage to skin. And when he calls me, so I don't think he even called me, he just showed up and he's like, hey man, I got my mountain lion. I was like, it was cold, it was winter. So he brings it in, puts it in my garage, but he had just driven like an hour with this thing. So it was frozen. It was, but as it unthawed, and we're in the house drinking a few beers and he's telling the story. And the next thing, it's like, hey, we need to go out in the garage and start working on this thing and getting it skinned. We'd already made a plan to try some of the meat, some of the backstrap. So I go out there and he had shot it once in the guts. Nice. When it wheeled on him, I think it was his second shot. Anyway, yeah, you could smell that. Like it was funky. So that was my biggest thing. As we're skinning and I'm gagging, I'm like, I don't know if I can eat any of this. He's like, we got to try it. For one, like you said, I shot it. He's like, and I always wanted to try mountain lion. Everybody says it's good. So yeah, we ended up trying and it was excellent, really. Yeah, but it was that mental thing of getting over what I just had smelled for 2 hours as we were skinning it. Yep. That was probably the hardest for me. So
that's happened to me even like with antelope though. I can't remember if it was my mom or dad that had the tag, but they had a 92 tag and we just went out just north of town and got one and we were back to the house by 9:30. And back in the day before 92 was what it is. And it's like a big thing. So don't get mad at me that we just went and shot one and not hunted for a big trophy. But I think it was just that I gutted it and did all the things with it. And we cooked the tenderloins for lunch. And I think that just that smell was so strong still of that antelope smell.
Yeah.
Trying to eat that. It about gagged me. And I love antelope. I've never had a problem eating antelope, but I think it was just too soon, and you get that smell off your hands a little bit more, before it would taste good. Because it didn't bother them at all, but they didn't really handle it as much as I had, so they didn't have that smell on their hands and stuff as much as I did.
Yeah.
I'll share my favorite story, which is just only 2 years ago, which is my moose hunt. Just with my wife, Nikki, and she was never into hunting until she met me, and she's still not really hardcore. She wants to hunt moose now. I can tell you that. That's her goal now. But just having that experience, and with it a once in a lifetime tag now, everybody was like, you better make sure you get a large bull. That'll be my goal. But then when you started hunting with my wife and all the experiences and all the things we were doing, some of the hikes that we did and everything else, and just enjoying the land was, I got my mind off. I really don't care if it's a large bull or not. This is already the greatest experience in hunt. And Nikki just fell in love with it. And then we found the one bull that I missed with my bow. Then it was her goal for me to get that bull. It was like, it doesn't matter whatever other bull we find, this is the one you're going to get. But then I was like, hold on a second here. If we find one that's larger, I have to go out. No, you're getting this one because you've missed. We found it together. No, finally getting all the way up until we finally got the opportunity to get to him and only 100 yards away to shoot him. I was like very emotional, but not as much as Nikki. I look over and it's her crying so hardcore. And I was like, holy cow, this isn't even your hunt.
Are you okay?
But I had to hurry and snap a picture of it. I was like, I got to capture this thing.
Blackmail material.
Yeah. And then she's like, the funny part was oh, this is great. And I was like, yeah, but now the work begins. And she's like, oh, it can't be that bad. You and I can do this. I was like, okay. Well, will you grab that hind quarter real fast and lift it up so then I could start field dressing this? She could barely even move it. And she looked at me and goes, do you think we should call the boys? Yeah. Fortunately, Hunter and Chris were available that day to come up and help us pack that out. But she packed out a lot of the back strap and everything, which was really the biggest dead weight really in the back part because it just sags in the bottom of that pack. But she carried that out and was a champion for it and everything. But she says, I want to hunt moose and I want to pack it out myself and everything else. I was like, okay, hopefully you could draw it soon because we're not getting any younger.
It's just going to get harder.
Yeah. So hopefully she draws soon. I've had a lot of very memorable hunts and they weren't even mine. I was just tagging along, but
those are some of the best ones.
That's the best one. Yeah. Yeah, they are. And most of my hunting nowadays is with our youth hunts in the fall. And man, if that's the only thing I do, that's fantastic. But once my kids started hunting, that's been like really my hunting. It's just as long as I get to hunt with them. If I don't draw anything for myself, it's okay. Those are the things. Just having to tag along with somebody. I think some of those have been probably even better than my own hunt.
Same. I've hunted. I got into hunting because of my husband. My parents hunted, but I was just never into it. So when I met my husband is when I started hunting. But I enjoy going more than hunting myself. I get so excited when my husband gets something, and I'll be the first one to digging in to help tear it down. But I'm excited for him or whoever we're with more than shooting something myself. Okay. But I'm mostly, if we need the meat, then I'll hunt. The being outdoors, just doing anything outside. So,
Chris,
cool.
Yeah, cool. Chris is like, I don't draw any tags.
Same.
But he did this year finally.
Oh.
Yeah. Shh.
Are we not jinxing?
It's not we don't talk about that stuff.
He worries too much.
I don't worry.
I really hope I don't see a massive cloud of smoke out.
That is what I'm worried about. I get really nervous. I have that fire duty or watch duty app on my phone that shows you fires. Yeah. And there was one of those tones. It's like I don't know.
Like an Amber Alert?
Yeah, it's like an Amber Alert thing. So every time that thing goes off, especially with the weather we've been having, it's super dry. There was one this morning and I just grabbed my phone off the counter and I was like, oh, please don't let it be the area I'm hunting this year. It was, but
I wonder how that works.
What do you mean?
Does somebody report a fire and then that's what triggers that off?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Oh no!
What do you mean?
The wheels turning here.
Report a fire or start a
I
fire?
was mistaken. That was just a campfire. My bad.
I think you get in trouble for that.
I think they have to verify it as an actual wild
Just curious,
fire.
because I could have fun in the next month.
Yeah.
Joey has a picture with a little match that has the smoke coming up, taking it, sending it to Chris.
Oh no.
Standing on top of the mountain that Chris is.
But that's the thing. Like you mentioned with that deer, and I don't even have technically. I just started scouting this area for elk, but it's a good tag. So it's normally I have no pressure, but you get a good tag and suddenly all the pressure and I shouldn't even say there's pressure because I don't put pressure on myself to kill something big. It is just about the enjoyment, but there's always that opportunity. And I guess there's always that opportunity no matter where you're hunting, but
Yeah, but you draw those tags like that are so hard to draw, and everybody wants one. And it might be that you might only have that one experience in that area. So you really do want to try to make the best of it. And whether you end up with that wall hanger or not, you want to have a fair opportunity.
Yeah.
Really. And utilize it for what it is. Because some people draw these tags and they don't even go. They don't even know they go out for a weekend. And that's that.
Well, it wouldn't break my heart if all the other tag holders didn't go. Stay home. I know 2 people who have the tag and they'll go, but everybody else could just stay home. It's overrated. No, there's no sense in going. I don't even know if I can define a best hunt just because there's been just so many. And like you guys, I mean, that day you killed your moose. It's that whole, you throw out that, hey, call me if you need help. Most of the time,
not expecting
people don't expect you to take you up on it. That was awesome that you did. When Hunter called me, or I don't remember if it was you or Hunter, but it was like, hey, do you want to come and pack a moose? This was Saturday morning. You want to come and help pack a moose out? And I'm like, hell yeah.
Well, I recall
I'm on my
in
way.
that text, you did actually say you need some help. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so you sent me a text.
he asked
You
it.
sent it to
So
both of us.
I'm going to
You're
answer
right.
that
Himself out there.
honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's
And
awesome.
yes. Yeah. I was,
It ended up being an awesome day.
we could have probably done it even with just Hunter. Cause I mean, he took two pack trips out for us cause he was the young one, but yeah, you always appreciate that help, and it's always good to have friends that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good friends. Buy
Yeah.
those friends good Christmas presents.
Yeah,
you
Joey,
want them
buy
in the
those
fall.
friends good Christmas presents.
Yeah,
That
do
was
that.
I gave you meat.
Yeah, you did.
And when
But-
Patty got her elk,
Oh, yeah.
they sent us a text message with the picture of her elk. And then we're all like, hey, do you need help? And John's like,
Yes, actually, we do.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have even mentioned that because it's almost dark. I was like, man, this better be in a good place.
it was.
Fortunately, it was. It was a
really
perfect
pretty
place.
easy
But
place. But there was like 6 of us out there.
yeah, sometimes that's even
Pretty
the fun
cool, though.
part of it,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Like-
the challenge of it when
Yeah.
you look at it and then you look at where you have to go to get out and you think, oh boy, how'd we get ourselves here? That limits me and Casey quite a bit when we're out and about, when it's just the two, because it's like we got to just constantly be aware of, if we get something here, can we get it out, and pay attention to the temperature and
Can you please talk to my husband about that?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because he'll get it in
He just
places
goes.
and then he's like, hey, can you come help me? And it's just the 2 of us
yeah.
packing out clear back there,
a lot.
for 3 miles, and there's mountains. It's not just a flat walk.
I worry too, 'cause if something happens, if I go down, Casey's strong enough, he can hobble me out of there. But if he rolls an ankle or, nothing crazy or serious or anything, but if he's laid up, then,
He's back. He's
I'm
stuck
going out
back.
by
I
myself
was gonna
and
say
getting
he's
help
stuck back there.
and leaving him there. So it's like, that's a situation that I really don't want to be in. No, it's not fun. So you got to just always be mindful when you're out. And accidents happen enough as it is, so making, putting yourself in a bad spot doesn't help.
It's good to have friends with horses. That's what I've determined. Although I've never had them come to my rescue, but I know guys I could call that have horses that would probably be totally willing to drop everything and come and bring them. So
Yeah, one of the elk that I got up in Big Sandy, we were way back in there. There's no business. There's no way we would have been back in there that far, but we had friends that were hunting up there with us that had mules and horses. So it's like, we can get it. We
Right.
don't have to worry about it, which was cool. It's neat to be able to go far as you always want to. You're like, I really want to go up into that bowl, or I want to go over that hill or whatever. It's like, and I can't get back out of there with a quarter of an elk on my back. So we're just not going to go there.
I don't ever tell myself that. I am that guy. I am the way I'm wired. I am that. I got to find out what's over that hill, and it's gotten me into some trouble over the year. And same thing. You're back there going, what am I doing here? If I end up killing something, I am screwed. But I then proceed to hunt the whole day there.
Yeah, I think it is pushing your limits like that, though, that make you keep doing what you do. Because you do get a little spooked. You're like, man, what do you start questioning? What am I doing? And should I be here? And then you end up getting something and you are able to get it out. Not necessarily a good thing, because then the next time that last time was fine. I can go farther.
Yeah. Keep pushing. Any big hunts for this fall? Did you draw anything?
I did not, which is I'm grateful for, because Casey drew a sheep tag.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, over in 19. So I've hunted elk over there a few times. I had Area 7 2 years in a row, which was awesome. It's such a cool area over there. And he's got some family over in Wheatland, so we can hunt with them. And it's going to be a lot. It opens August 15th for archery and the 1st for rifle. And I keep telling him, I said, we got to wait. I know you don't want to, we got to wait. Because I am absolutely panicked to death over the hide and trying to get that thing out. And the guy that's going to help me mount my mountain lion, I asked him, I said, what should I expect with this thing? Is it like deer or elk? He said, they're worse than antelope. They slip so fast. You got to get them off the body and get them cooled immediately. And I'm like, this is my job. This is what I do. Like, I'm the skinner, I'm the taxidermy. And it's like, this isn't just, we're not just going to go buy another cape if this one had a mess, So I'm just like, can we just wait till it snows? I'm going to have like frozen bottles of water in my backpack or something to try to, because, I just get so paranoid about that stuff. And once in a lifetime, obviously. And luckily he, at least for now, he might change his mind. He just wants to do a shoulder mount on it and not a life size, because that would take that much longer. But I still want to get plenty of the hide and the meat and all that. So we're not going to not archery hunt it, and we're not going to not be there opening week. Who's going to wait? That's crazy to wait till October. That's stupid. But I'm just so panicked about it. But it's going to be fun. We've seen a lot of sheep over there when we were elk hunting, and I actually found a decent little deadhead when we were elk hunting over there a couple years ago.
So this is the area between, if you were coming from the Laramie side to Wheatland, all that country in there, that real rocky.
Yep.
Looks like good sheep country.
Yeah.
It is good sheep country. Yeah, we definitely, which was when we were elk hunting over there, we'd been watching this bull that I had found a shed from, wanted to try to get that bull, and we watched him, and away he went all the way up to the top, and we're like, where'd he go? And I'm like, see where them sheep are? And they said, yeah. You went above them. It's such an elk thing to do. Like, they're such jerks. I was like, wish we were sheep hunting right now, because I think they'd be significantly easier.
Yeah.
Wow. Sheep meat's good.
That's what I've heard too. I'm really excited about
it's
that too.
Really good.
I've got a much more adventurous palate than Casey does. He gets a little nervous about stuff, but I feed him all kinds of stuff. He usually likes it. But
Yeah, no, he'll like sheep. If he likes antelope, elk,
yeah,
he'll really like sheep. It's good. But that's
It's a
next
lot.
level pressure there.
it is. It's so much. And he drew it on the roundum. So it wasn't even like he had enough
Oh.
point where we're like, oh, you're going to draw. This is the year. There's a really good chance. So we put in for New Mexico. We put in for all of our regular tags, everything. And say, luckily we didn't draw an elk or deer or anything, and just blindsided us a little, and you're like,
Been there, done that.
yeah, excited about it, obviously. But you're like, oh man, what do we do now? I'm not mentally prepared for this. It's like, and we went to Texas in February, burned a bunch of vacation when we went to Canada. With what I do with Royal Flush, I can work weekends or do whatever I need to do to get the work done. But he's got an allotted amount of vacation, so we got to be super smart about it.
Really appreciate you coming, Jessica.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me. I was like, you want me to be on your podcast? Okay. This sounds like fun.
Obviously, it was the best choice.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Us hunters are low in numbers, and it's a battle to continue to have the opportunity to hunt and continue that heritage. And we always encourage folks, hunting isn't just about the kill. We talked about it's about the memories as well. And you don't have to love hunting to harvest the animal. You can love hunting just by the experience and the memories or whatever, and never harvest one animal ever in your life. And with our low numbers, we always try and encourage people to get out there, because even though they're not hunting, they just know and experience and know all about it. So when it comes to fighting for our right to hunt, they could be on our side as well. And it's funny, this morning I saw a Go Hunt video with Dan Gates on it. I don't know if you've seen this.
I haven't.
He's talking about Initiative 82 in Colorado.
Oh, God.
It's even worse than the 127.
Oh, really?
And he says if this one gets passed, there will not be any fish and wildlife in Colorado. They'll completely eliminate the commission, everything, and they'll start a different commission that will pretty much wipe out hunting. When you see that stuff, it's just, once again, a very scary thing. And that's why it's just, I know us hunters feel like we have a lot of us, but really we're, like 10% of the entire country's population. I don't know what that other 90% really is, broke down into rather an anti-hunter or whatever. We always got to still keep in mind that when this kind of stuff comes down, we got to try and work together. And hopefully people, when they hear either this podcast or other stories from other folks, or always try and figure ways of getting those folks into a room and saying, okay, let's do this. Let's go. Because let them experience that. But everybody's got to just always just keep in mind that there are a lot of people out there to stop this.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's really weird if the fangs and claws that are the biggest ones of them all, when it's the other species that are struggling, such as mule deer, why aren't they trying to fight harder to protect that? Just like I seen the protesters yesterday on Dewar Drive for the feral horses. Those aren't the ones you have to worry about. Let's try and work together and try and figure out solutions to help some of these other animals.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up.
There may be more feral horses down south than there are mule deer.
Yes.
It's probably
I think there probably is.
damn close too, which is pretty sad.
Yeah. I just thought ending this podcast is just something to mention because I seen that this morning, and it's just a scary feeling. I mean, just to even think, my grandkids may never be able to carry on the hunting heritage. It's just a scary thing. Don't mean to be bring up a
Thanks,
negative
Debbie
type
Downer.
of thing after a great conversation about hunting, but it's just reality, and there's just something that's got to be discussed. But
It's a good thing to end on, that just to remind folks that, one, this is just my opinion, you got to be involved. You actively have to be involved
Yes.
with what's going on today. If it's stuff in Colorado, public land threats, all those. I mean, you can't sit back on the sidelines anymore and just say, somebody else will fight this fight. It takes all of us.
Yeah.
And two, in my opinion, like you mentioned, there are people that are adamantly against hunting in any form for any reason, but there's a lot of the public who are acceptant. It's acceptable to them, but we as hunters have to set that tone all the time. We need to police ourselves, in my opinion. We need to do what's right and not give people ammunition to run us down. No, you have to be out there doing the things you need to do in the way you need to do them. And then you'll never convince me that folks that hunt care more about the wildlife, the land, because you're out there all the time experiencing.
Yeah.
It's up to us to make sure that that carries on and we do things the right way.
And social media is just bad on a lot of that stuff. But again, Jessica, thank you so much for coming and joining us today on this and talking about the thing that we just love and are so passionate about.
Yeah,
everything.
again, thank you.
Yeah,
again, so
thanks,
much for having
Jessica.
And love all the things that you and your husband do. I'll never forget the time when you shed hunted in Home Depot.
I know, just thinking about that.
That was like, I'm going to tell you right now. I was like, where are they at? Wow. That kind of looks
so
familiar.
familiar.
And I was like, where's that out south of town? And then all of a sudden you show the Home Depot. I was like,
parking lot.
oh man, that was a guilt.
You found some in Home Depot parking lot? I'm going in the wrong damn
You are in
places.
the wrong place.
Oh, that was great. But yeah, keep up the great stuff. Even when I see some of your hikes, and that's really cool stuff. So,
Yeah, thank you.
awesome.
I need to get out and join one of those.
You spend 4 or 5 hours out there with a whole different group of people. It's a really good way to talk to people and tell people what you guys have going on and different things that you're working towards. And like I say, a lot of these, they come from all different walks. A lot of them aren't hunters.
Right.
They're in that bucket of people that they don't dislike hunting. They're not against hunting. They just don't do it, and they don't really know a lot about it, and they don't realize the threats that are against it. And when you can have those conversations and really tell these passionate stories about why you do what you do, they're still not going to pick up a rifle and start hunting, but they remember what you said, and they it kind of helps them pay a little bit more attention too. So when somebody else is trying to take it away, even though it's not taking it from them, they realize, I really like this person. They've got a passion for this, and I think it's unfair to take it from them. So it gives them a little bit more education too, and it's just, you're just walking down the trail.
So I'm hearing maybe there should be a Team MFF Whiskey Goat hike at some point in time.
I think that'd be perfect.
I'm for it.
I'm down. As long as
You're
it's
done.
not 90 degrees, okay?
It's probably going to be 90 degrees.
Ah, man.
Or we either go super early or we go at night, and it starts out, or that 90-ish temp, and then it cools off. But then you're walking in the dark.
4 in the morning?
You about, yeah.
Okay.
I got to start early.
Get up
That's
anyways.
my routine. If it gets hot after, but if I start hot, no,
All right.
that's not good. For
I'm
me.
looking forward to it. We'll try and get something on the calendar after this.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
be
for
cool.
sure. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And just another episode of the Wild Things, Wild Places, the Muley Fanatic Foundation podcast. Hope you enjoy this one.